Well, I just got my 12-volt air conditioner for my 1-ton excavator. This thing's a little bigger than I thought it was going to be. Um, the outside unit, I don't really care about. I'm just going to mount that on the back of the excavator. But this thing, the inside unit, yeah, this thing's a bit bulky, man. I tried to fit it in there, and there's just no place to put it where it's not literally going to be resting on my head or in my face. Yeah, I'm going to have to cut this thing down, but I can't really find a smaller solution that isn't outrageously expensive. Delivered to my house, this thing was $265. You see them all over Alibaba and Amazon. They're a bit more expensive on Amazon, but I took a chance on buying it from Alibaba, and I got everything. The hoses are in a box still, and you got to charge it with 134A, which I've got plenty of that. But what I think I'm going to do is figure out, and I don't think it'll be all that hard. I've already pulled the screws out of this thing, so here's a little control panel. Let me pull it apart. Set that down there. Oh, that was hanging up. That's a little control panel, which there's not really much to it. Just got a little plug that goes down to a wiring harness that plugs into the outside unit. So that'll actually be easy to relocate. Now this thing, let me see. This thing is, the coil's about 5.5 inches by, well, the surface area of it is a little over 14 inches, so we'll say 14 and a half. That's not a big coil. This thing says it's, the ad said it was 11,000 BTU. There is zero chance this is 11,000 BTU, but the inside of a 1-ton excavator is not very big, so even if it's like 3,000 or 4,000 BTU, that's more than enough. I can get 3 120 millimeter fans to push air through that. I'm sure this fan is pretty powerful. I'm going to test it, see how much air actually comes out of this thing, but man, that thing is bulky. And I'm sure it's not quiet either, so going to 120 millimeter fans is not really going to make a huge difference in how much noise it makes, I don't think. But man, I got to cut that bulk down a little bit to fit it inside that excavator. But the coil actually comes off of here really easily, so there's really not much to it. This thing really isn't all that much bigger than a PC radiator. You know, like a what is it, 240, 360. It's about the same size. Maybe I mean, it's bigger than that, but I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal, because I've got a 3D printer. I think I'm going to design me a housing for it. But man, I've got to cut this down. It is just way too big. But I think 3 120 millimeter fans, but I'll have to get like server fans, like really powerful fans to actually really blow the air pretty good. And I'll have to measure how much amp draw this is, because I don't want to overload the controller. I'm sure it's probably at least 4 or 5 amps, maybe a little more, something like that. I mean, it is 12 volts, so it's going to draw a little bit of amp draw. I mean, it looks like I can't see the actual motor inside this housing without pulling it apart. I don't know, is that the motor? Oh, that's the motor right there. That is a pretty decent sized motor, little fan motor. So I think I can cut this down to probably at least half that bulk. And it's really simple to set up. Just hook the lines up right there, fill her up with 134A, and then should have some AC in that thing. I'm going to run it off of a battery bank though, because the electrical system in the 1 tons is just a magneto, so it's only got a couple amps worth of charge. So But I mean, if I can get it to run for about 4 or 5 hours, I'd estimate out of two deep deep batteries, deep cycle batteries, that'll be plenty. And then I can just recharge them and then, you know, start it back up again. So, but once I design something and get a little further along, I'll make another video on it.